Hello, guys. Kevin here, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Kevin Cast. This is a little podcast that I wanted to do because I can't find a reliable co-host. So we're gonna have different guests every episode, and our first guest today is Ian. So say hello, Ian.
Yo, what's going on? I'm excited to be your non-consistent co-host.
Non-consistent co-host. Yeah. So this is gonna be a podcast where we just talk absolute garbage. There's no theme to this. It's just whatever comes up.
Hey, I mean, our job is to speak garbage. It's okay. Well, part of
Absolutely,
it.
yeah. Part of it is just to speak garbage. So it's nice to have this outlet too.
Exactly.
So if you guys do enjoy this, before we get into everything, don't forget to follow on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll get right into the conversation now. So, how many fourth graders do you think you could beat up?
Oh, dude, so many. Look, I'm not saying I'm egotistical, but I am a big motherfucker.
So how many realistically? Like you're all you
Okay,
have?
we're going hard numbers. We're going hard numbers.
It's so you're on the playground. You get whatever's on the playground. That's your weapon.
Okay. Um, I have a long background of like mathematics, trying to put a simulation together or something. I'm saying confidently at least 25. I'm being
Yeah,
so dead ass. Just
yeah,
all at once, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. I think
yeah.
25 confidently.
Yeah. So I got that from a TikTok audio. That question from a TikTok audio that I saw earlier, and then I realized that it's from an episode of Family Guy.
Oh,
So I looked at the Family Guy clip, and Peter says he's gonna go into a stall and give him one entry point and just kick him. Bow, bow, bow. And he goes,
yeah.
realistically, 400 fourth graders.
I guess if you have a strategy, it is just easier to go up in number. Because I mean, if you're funneling them, it's like COD zombies at that point. You just find like one entry point, you lay down with like the LSAT from Black Ops 2, and just hold left click. I mean, it's that easy.
A chain from a swing.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. I mean, I don't think because I mean, one, they're already you already have like a size and strength advantage. So now if you're giving yourself an extra advantage like positioning, it's that easy.
Yeah, yeah. So I thought that would be an interesting first question.
Yeah, it's always a good icebreaker, I guess.
Nice
Right?
icebreaker. How many fourth graders do you think you could beat up?
Well, trust me, I think
Um,
25 fourth graders would break some ice. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely, definitely. I guess it also depends on like what season you're fighting these fourth graders in.
yeah, why is that?
Well, cause like I feel like when you once you get older, the cold affects you more. Or like if it was
Mm,
super hot out, I feel like younger kids wouldn't care as much about the temperature.
yeah, I mean, also those fourth graders probably aren't drinking much water, so maybe they just like dehydrate.
Oh yeah, maybe they'll just kill themselves.
Yeah, maybe you have to do no work and get it over
No
with.
work. Just be like, longest one to not drink water wins.
Yeah. That's like the most fucked up Mr. Beast prompt you could ever give someone. I put four people in a room and told them to not drink any water. The last one surviving gets a new Bugatti.
Gets an unlimited supply of water.
Didn't he just like build a bunch of wells in Africa too? That'd be so fucked
He
up.
did, yeah.
Yeah, I gave all these like privileged people in the United States infinite water. You guys get a well.
You get a well.
Eh.
I gave one billionaire infinite water.
Have you ever thought about like what the landscape of YouTube and Twitch would look like if there was just like no moral values?
I feel like it would just be like, I feel like that does exist, and it's called Live Leak.
Mm, yeah, that's fair.
I feel like
I
Twitter is becoming Live Leak. Or X now, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree because Twitter has always had like the fucked up things like on the side. Like if you go searching, you can find some fucked up things, but now it's like unmoderated. So,
I hate it because I'll scroll on my X feed and like the whole main page I'll find is either just Elon Musk tweets. I'm not even following Elon Musk, I don't think,
yeah. No,
or
he
like
he
his
forced everyone to see his
replies,
tweets.
or some fighting video.
Ah.
and I'm like
Yeah.
not. I'll put like not interested on like one fighting video, and then like maybe 2 days later I'll get like some people beating each other up in a Waffle
Hmm.
House, and I'm like, I didn't want this. I came
Yeah,
here for
no.
my gaming news and for the Opera GX tweets.
Yeah, no, I get that. I Live Leak was the days though, man. Do you remember like going to like eighth grade or something, and some dude was like, "Yeah, I just watched this video of this dude getting run over by a fucking car."
Yeah, I remember Live Leak being so much worse than it is now, and I think it's only because of how desensitized the rest of the
Mm,
internet has become.
that's a fair point. I don't think
Like
I've
every
actively been on it myself, so
everybody's been like, well, I've never been actively on it, but you know you've had those friends that'll send you like a Live Leak
100%.
link and
Yeah.
you're like, what is this? I'm so terrified to click on this.
Yeah, 100%. Because I mean,
Um,
that's where the
cuz it could
that's
be
where people
anything.
it could be literally anything. That's where all like the ISIS beheading videos were.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It
It's
was just
like
wild.
it's like fifth graders clicking on that shit, and you're just like, what is happening?
It's like a lot of the Reddit 50/50 things
Oh yeah.
were live leak videos.
God,
Um,
that subreddit's fucked.
the Reddit 50/50.
Yeah.
I love the Reddit 50/50s where it's like something super gruesome or boobs.
Yeah, I mean that's the duality of man right
It's like
there.
that's the duality of man right there. It's like man gets sawed in half by his own chainsaw or massive titty drop, and you're like, ooh.
Or mommy milkers.
You're like, well, hold on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going with the milkers every day, but it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, but you got a 50/50. You might get mommy milkers.
This is true. This is absolutely true.
It's
I
like,
forget that the whole point is randomness.
um, yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like Reddit 50/50 was such a big thing for a while, and then it kind of died out. That
Yeah, didn't even like Markiplier and shit do that?
Yeah, I feel like every big YouTuber kind of did Reddit 50/50 at one point.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're
Um,
right.
and then it's weird because like we're getting to the point of YouTube. Like YouTube has done the same thing that like film has done, but so much faster.
Mm.
If that makes any
Yeah.
sense. Like we're getting to
Yeah.
the point where people are doing like revisited videos
Ah. Yeah, preying on the nostalgia.
where they're like, "Oh, Five Nights at Freddy's revisited, Reddit 50/50 revisited." And it's like, do
Dude,
we
there's
really
no way there's
need
people
that
playing
now?
FNAF right now, right?
I did a Five Nights at Freddy's video. I did
Oh
my
boy.
first, no, my second ever Five Nights at Freddy's video
Okay.
for Halloween when I was doing my daily uploads, and I uploaded like twice or whatever.
Mm,
I uploaded for a week and then got lazy.
yeah, no, I get that. I had a like huge thing planned for October, like
Oh yeah,
every day.
I wanted to do like horror, like I was gonna play every Five Nights at Freddy's game and post that on on every Friday. It was gonna be Five Nights at Freddy's Friday, and so it was gonna be like I play the first one all the way down to like on Halloween. I was just gonna play like
Mm,
VR, so it was like the scariest one or whatever.
yeah.
And but I got lazy and didn't record anything, and I don't mind editing. I just sometimes it sucks. Like I used to have somebody who would edit stuff with me, and it helped. And now I'm editing stuff by myself again, and it's like I hate it so much.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, editing's always the like the floodgate. If you can get through it, that's usually whenever
Um,
your shit will start to look best and everything. So
yeah, and it sucks when you're trying to get an editor too, because it's like trying to find somebody who edits similar to you so that your
hmm
content doesn't change or that understands the idea of how you want it done
yeah, you're
is
keeping your creative freedom.
super difficult.
Yeah, I 100%
Um,
agree.
like I've definitely talked to different editors and different content creators, and you probably have had a similar problem trying to edit videos and even thought about getting an editor maybe before or having a friend edit for you or something.
Yeah, I have a little bit, especially with being in school and everything. It's like taking that extra 2.5, 3 hours just to edit like a 4-minute video or something can be a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So,
So just like having like even like sometimes I've even had like when I have something that I need done by the end of the week and I know I'm gonna procrastinate it, I'll kind of throw it to like a Fiverr artist or something like that.
mm, yeah,
And I mean, it helps to get it done, but it's like I couldn't give them like a stream highlight,
Yeah, I get
because it
that.
wouldn't be the same as if I was like, if I edited it, like it wouldn't have the same flow. So it's like I can kind of like outsource like stuff like like the shorter edited ones where it's just like it's kind of like just cleaning it up so there's no silence.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Or like something where it's easy for you to be like this is what I want.
Yeah,
um
I'm still kind of trying to find like that style that is inherently mine. So it's a little easier for me right now, but like as I've made more things, I've figured out what I find funny, and if I don't find my own shit funny, then I just won't make it.
oh
So,
yeah, that's a good one. Is like um I've come to realize that like I need to watch my content the way that like I would watch, like I would expect somebody to watch my content.
yeah.
And um like a lot of the times I'm like I have to kind of forget what I was saying when I was doing that. So sometimes I would like I'll edit a whole video and then I will actually get like sort of baked and watch the entire edit and record myself watching the edit. And then when I was like the next day I'd watch it and be like, "All right, so I found this funny."
Mm,
So that can stay in.
yeah. No, I 100% agree with like the whole view it as a viewer almost for a little bit. But
Um, but then you do kind of have to see it from the other point, from like your perspective of like, oh, this will grab attention, but like it's probably not as funny as like it in context. It's probably not as funny, but you could probably drop it at the beginning without context.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I
and
think that's one of the most fucked up things I've ever heard is like the average attention span on like most social media apps is like 0.3 seconds. Like
yeah,
how
like
the
that.
fuck?
That's one of the things of like why my intro has gotten so blown out.
Uh,
Like I used to just be like, "Oh, hey guys, welcome to another video," and now it's like I'm like shouting it. I'm like, "Hey guys, welcome to the video," and they're like, "Whoa!" Like you
you
gotta
just
have,
start bass boosting your intro, deep
you just
fry
gotta
it.
like scare the shit out of them. Or like I sometimes I'll start videos of me like silent, and that'll catch people's attention because people are like, "Oh, what's going on here?"
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean,
Because it's just like me walking into camera, and they're like, "Whoa, hold on."
yeah, yeah. I think stuff like that works really well for shorts. I've always enjoyed just being like on short material, like on TikToks and YouTube Shorts and etc. Just
Hmm.
being like the first 3 seconds of being just like whatever the fuck, and then like the rest of it is actually the subject of the video, is
Oh
usually the
yeah,
best way to
yeah.
go, which is
Cause
funny to
well,
me.
cause yeah, that was how I used to do those like my vlog things. I used to do vlogs where I would talk about just random shit, but I always had to kind
Ah,
of start it in a weird way. I always had to be like I was thinking I would that's what I was thinking about. It wasn't what I was going to talk about because I was like I can talk about whatever the fuck I want. That's what the video
mm,
is. But then I was sitting there like how am I going to start this video so that it will catch somebody's eye? And a lot of the
yeah,
times it was like me walking in or me like taking a sip of my drink and it's like super zoomed in and bass boosted, like where you could just hear like everything, like you hear the whole and the
yeah.
like, and it's all like turned up. So it's like I have like I got really good with stuff like that, and it's like it's hard to be like, oh yeah, I want to do this, but like I have to like somehow make it so that it catches people's eye. Like I want to make like an actual show at some point. I've been working on
Yeah.
writing a show, but it's like without like an audience that I know is gonna watch my content, it's kind of hard to just drop a show.
I can 100% understand that. It's also like you don't want to feel like you're sacrificing something else you care about for something that could possibly care about.
Well, no, I totally get that because like that's my biggest problem about trying to like jump into a show is that like I've
Mhm,
written shows and movies and stuff like that that I want to do with my company or like with the stuff that I have, but it's like
mhm,
for me to do that, I kind of have to drop like working on content for maybe a month or two so that I can just
sure.
get out shooting and stuff like that. And then when I'm editing it, maybe I can do like maybe one or two videos or a stream here or there. But it's like sometimes I have to drop that. But that was the whole thing is that I was shooting a short film last year or this year that was supposed to come out in October,
Mhm,
and it took everything out of me. Like I was still trying to upload as well, and I was uploading shit that I didn't like. It was like me driving home from work that day. Like that was the
yeah.
video. It was like me singing along to songs for 15 minutes or something.
Yeah, so I have no experience making a short film, but my brother is a director currently, and he does a lot of like music videos
Hmm.
and stuff like that. And he produced a short film for like his like final project in college kind of deal.
Hmm.
Um, and I mean the amount of work he put into that alone for I think it was a 21-minute film.
Oh
Like
yeah, mine was like 45 minutes. Like,
Jesus,
yeah, we
yeah.
were like, I was like putting everything into it, and it's like it was tricky because I was trying to kind of write it as I was making it,
Mm,
because we were trying to get it. I was trying to get it out because it was like I had already kind of told the story already, because I had done two streams already that were kind of already trying to do that story, but I was like, oh, it'd be better as a short film. So I was like, oh, I'll kind of turn it into a short film, and then like after it was done, I could have uploaded it, and it
mm,
took me months to make, maybe 2 or 3 months. It was supposed to release on like October like 3rd or something like that. I could have released it. It was ready, edited, done. Like I put money into this time. I hated it.
mhm.
I was like, it's not to the standards that I would want it to be. I was like, I know it's my first short film, and people aren't gonna judge me as much as I'm judging myself on it. But I'm like, it's not to the standard that I would want to release.
Yeah, you're selling a piece of your soul to put it out just to put it out. Yeah, that's always hard. I get it.
And it's like, but I was sitting there, and people were like, oh no, you should release it. It sounds so cool. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, it's not at all what I wanted it to be.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, it's at a certain level I understand where you're coming from, but dude, you should fucking release that.
Well, see, that's the thing, is that like, so the whole thing about it is that it was like super rushed.
Ah,
So what happened was that like I was trying to do too much at once with this thing, because I wanted to make like a connected universe at some point
mhm.
with it. And I was like, oh, this will be the first one. But then I was like, oh, well, I want to do this with it, and I want to do this, and then oh, I can introduce these characters and this character, and I was trying to do way too much. So
Yeah.
it was like kind of rushed. Like, so originally the story was like kind of like Inside, like by Bo Burnham, where I was stuck in my room trying to complete something, but like I had this lingering doubt of like depression and stuff like that over me that was like kind of like personified.
Yeah.
um and but then I had my other feelings too that were personified as well, and but I didn't end up adding them into the story until it became a short film. And I was trying to do so much with it to the point where like we had like I was doing like musical bits where we were like I was singing and doing stuff like that, which I wanted to do anyway, and I was doing originally. But then like it got to the point where like I go to sleep, and then like for some reason I wake up and I'm in the woods, and that's where I meet the other like things, or like my other emotions, and then they try to help me, but like they don't end up doing anything else for the rest of the
Ah,
45 minutes. So it was like they kind of were just thrown in there.
I get you. I
And I
mean,
was like, it didn't flow correctly. And then if I removed the stuff with all the other ones, the story wasn't complete,
yeah. I
because like
mean,
there was no resolution for why I ended up getting over my feelings. Like it was just like there, like if I removed that stuff, it was like I was upset and not doing anything, and then just randomly in the next scene I was like, oh yeah, if I finish this, then I have completed something. And then it's like, well, there was no progress for the character. Like
I
it
think it's
just
important
happened.
to. I mean, obviously you know what was wrong with it. I think that if you still want to, I understand not wanting to release it, and I will not tell you to release it, but I'm saying that maybe it's a good thing to know where you come from if you want to like put that out there, because you can also do like a director's note kind of deal. You can be like, hey
um
man, I think I know what I should do next, and I'm gonna do that harder and better next time.
So the reason I don't want to release it is because I am reworking the story to be
Okay.
better.
Okay.
I think I will at some point release that film as its own thing, not that version, but its own version that does do the same story. But I'm right
I
now
got
writing
you.
a show that leads up to that film.
Ah, yeah. You're
So
gonna get trapped in director hell, brother.
yeah, but I'm doing it a lot better than I did previously, where I was kind of trying to take on the whole load of everything. Like
Yeah.
mixing the music, I was editing it, I was shooting everything by myself, I was doing this that. So
Hmm.
I've now asked a couple friends to write some music for the
Yeah,
show, and
refuse a load or two, man. Refuse a
I've
load.
been asking my friends to be like, hey, can you come and just like, or even if it's not even the same person, I'm like, hey, can you come and just shoot like a couple scenes with me real quick.
Yeah.
um and it's like, but it is tricky with what I'm shooting now, because it's like I have to like redesign my room for each character.
Mm.
So I have to shoot everything as one character in one go.
Yeah, I mean that's a really cool premise though because it's visual storytelling with one person can be hard. So that's a good
Well, yeah,
idea.
because that's the thing, because it's all in my brain. So
Yeah.
each character has their own version of my room, and
Yeah.
their whole room is tinted in their color, which I can just do with my hue lights. Um, but then on top of that, there's like things in the room that kind of show them. Like I have anxiety, which is all purple, but like around the whole room, it has like sticky notes that's like, you're not good enough. This wasn't like, this has, or you don't have enough to the things, you don't go to the gym, and like it's like a whole bunch of
Yeah.
sticky notes that's like, this is what he's thinking.
Yeah.
But it's like, I want it to consistently look the same every time they cut to that, so I have to shoot
Yeah.
everything as the anxiety character, and then we can
Yeah.
take down all the sticky notes and set up for the next character.
Yeah, I could see how that would be a little fucking difficult.
So it's like, we haven't started shooting anything yet because I have to write out the whole script for the whole 6 episodes.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a. It sounds like you're kind of trying to future-proof yourself, so I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, so I haven't even like fully announced that the show exists yet. That's the first time I've brought it up.
Mm.
um but we probably won't even start shoot, like I'm finishing up script for episode 5 now, and
Cool.
so I just have to write the finale episode. But we probably won't even start shooting until maybe 2025.
Okay. I mean, yeah, you've done the hard work though, is getting yourself to do it. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Starting something is always the hardest. So
Oh
as
yeah,
long
no,
as
definitely, yeah. I've been,
as
because
as long as you keep going, man, I have a faith in a product that you can produce. So
oh, I hope it comes out pretty well. um yeah, so that was just like, it like, I learned a lot from shooting the first version of Stuck, that I should be able to do better with the show. um and I think the show is going to be better because instead of shooting a 45-minute whole thing, we're shooting 10-minute episodes.
yeah,
So
yeah, that's a way better idea.
it's like 60 minutes total, but it's split up into 10-minute intervals.
I think you'll be surprised with how easy it'll come to you, like the creative vision in person. Since you're doing something that you clearly care about, I think it'll be a little bit easier for you to put it together once you start to get to that point. So
Yeah, I'm excited to work on it, because it's one of those things where uh I've worked on shows before, and I've written stuff, but I've never actually like gotten, it's never actually been released, so I'm excited for this one
yeah,
to be. um
yeah, I have some of the same nerves. I am not a director or anything like that. I don't have the patience to direct people like that, but I do love to write, so I
yeah,
understand
yeah.
that much. Releasing anything you write is scary, and
Hmm.
releasing anything that you put even more work into, like directing other people to do what you wrote, is probably very hard. So
Yeah, yeah,
I don't
well,
envy you. I don't envy you.
I've been interested in doing all that kind of stuff, like acting, directing, and writing, for a
Yeah.
long time. Like, to the point where, back when my channel was still Snake Gaming, I had a separate channel called Snake Productions, and it was just for movies and stuff like that that we were gonna make. To the
Gotcha.
point where, like, my friend had a skit that he made called Deadpool versus Jason, I think it was, that got a bunch of views, and they were like, "Oh, well, we want to do a sequel." And I was like, or I think they did two, and they were like, "Oh, we want to do another one, but we were wondering like if we could get like a budget or something for it." And I was like, "I'll pay for the budget for like more of them, because I was making more money at the time."
Hmm.
And I was like, "Oh, I'll pay for the budget for more of them to come out, but I want to direct it." and I would like it to go up on Snake Productions instead of your channel, at least future ones. I was like, I'll buy that from you. Um, and then we started shooting the first one, and I don't believe we ever uploaded it because I think it went down
Ah, I gotcha.
because we were like, it's not as popular as it was, and I think we ended up trashing it because we were like, I don't know, something fell out. I don't remember exactly why. I know I had
Yeah.
all the footage for it, and then we just ended up not editing it.
Yeah.
But like even that back then, I was like 15 or 16 at the time, 14 something,
Gotcha. Wow.
and
Damn.
it was awful. Like I would rewatch the footage like now, and I'm like, bro, you can't hear a single word they're saying. We didn't have any ADR audio. We didn't have them mic'd. We were like, I was like, what were we thinking?
Yeah, I mean, looking back on even small projects that I've done with friends in the past, if you remember Newgrounds, like
Oh
when all
yeah,
the
yeah,
stick
yeah,
fighting games would pop up and
yeah.
all the animatics and shit, I made a couple of those with some of my buddies, and we would do this thing where it was like you do one scene, pass it to the next person, and it was because it was only like 30 seconds long.
Oh
So
yeah.
you're not animating something that's, 5 minutes long, takes you a year to make. It'll take you maybe a month to get all these people involved in it. And there's a couple that we had made on like Newgrounds and shit, and looking even back at those, it's like, okay, I could have done this so much better, but also I was like 9 years old,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I can't
yeah,
really blame myself.
yeah. I was actually recently. I've actually been writing a more or like I don't know if it's gonna be a movie or a show. I'm still playing. I'm still working on it, but it's probably something that'll actually come out before the other thing because I am more passionate about it and I know
Yeah.
more about it because I've been working on it for years. Um, and it originally was called Birdman, but that's taken.
Yeah, I think you might have missed on that one.
So when I was like 8 or 7, I created a superhero called Birdman, and my brother was Ratman.
Okay.
And I was like, when I got older, I was like, I want to turn this to a movie. And then I was like, oh, there is a Birdman. So I was like, oh, I could be Byhawk, and it could be some like a double-sided superhero. It's like
Mm.
he has like when he's normal, he's like this like shy, like doesn't talk to anybody, and it's kind of like Spider-Man, where then he puts on the mask and he's this like wisecracking like anti-hero.
A Chad, one might
Yeah,
say.
so he's like, but that's the thing. Like when he's the superhero, he can get all the girls and he can do this, but then when he's like normal, he can't really do that.
Yeah.
Um, and I wrote it, and I had a rough draft for the movie, and my friend had written like comics, like multiple comics of like different superheroes that he created, and I was like, oh, I want to be put in. I was like, oh, do you mind if we put Hawk into your universe because you already have a bunch of characters, and I will help fund for shows and movies of your characters too. Um, if Hawk like goes off, and
Yeah.
he kind of got upset because I wanted Hawk to be the first movie.
Ah, I get you. Okay.
Because he was like, well, I kind of have like an entire system of like who comes first and when these team up movies happen, and I'm like, yeah, but you're throwing in another character that is paying for the entire universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I was like, but I've kind of rewrote him now, and I like the way that it is now because like originally we were gonna try to do like big movie, like we were gonna be like, oh yeah, we're gonna get like a real suit and stuff like that, and now I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna go to Salvation Army and get like a purple hoodie and like put like one of them zip up hoodies and put sunglasses, and he's gonna have like tennis shoes and like a morph suit on. Like that's gonna be his superhero costume, and it's because he made it at home. And like
Hell yeah.
I was like, that's what I want. And
I think that's part of the charisma that comes from short films too, is because you don't have this fucking multi-million-dollar budget. You have something that feels more personal to especially the people that watch it. So
yeah, I think I could talk about this other show too because I don't think it's ever gonna be made. We wrote a script for it years ago, and it has a whole pilot, but we actors fell out, and so we never made it.
yeah.
And it was called The Week, and it was about like two kids who had a very strict mom, and but their mom is going like out of town for the week,
Yeah.
so there's no rules, and they get into all these shenanigans, but it's like to the point where it's like almost cartoony, like where they like summon like a devil and
Nice.
like
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So it's like the first episode starts and they end up like summoning a demon that they think they summon a demon and they end up not, and like but like at the end of the episode you find out that they actually did, but it doesn't return till like later in the season.
I love the idea. Honestly, that is very cartoonish, and that would make a fire cartoon.
And
So.
then but then like the show, I had to come up with a reason that we could make multiple seasons. I was like, after this week the mom's not gonna leave again.
Sure.
I was like, if the fucking house is like half blown up and their brothers and their third brother's fucking dead, they're not
I
gonna, mom's
mean,
not
yeah,
gonna leave again.
you
So
could
what
always
I
do the like, oh, she went to work, time to do an episode.
so what we did, what I came up with for a storyline was that and it made it so that we could make a movie at the end when we were done
Mm,
with it.
yeah.
So we were the idea was that the last episode of the first season, so there's 7 episodes, and that's why it was called The Week. So there's 7 episodes and each episode is a day,
Yeah.
ending with the mom coming back at the end and like yelling at him. But then it's like a freeze frame at like what everything's going on. There's like a demon over the pool, and like
Yeah.
they're like there's like a bunch of shit going on. Like kind of get like a glimpse of like each episode from like the past 6 episodes or whatever. And then it's like what the main character like talking over thing and being like, if you had a chance to do your entire week over again, would you? And
Mm,
then the show ends, and that's the end of the first season. But
yeah.
then the first episode of the second season starts exactly the same as the first episode of the first season.
I got you.
And then it kind
That's a super interesting idea.
so then it
That's
kind
a
of
great
but then
script.
it kind of like you kind of get hints, but in the first season there's like an episode where he makes a time machine but it doesn't work.
Uh,
And then later down the line you find out that he ended up using the time machine ended up did working at some point, and that's how he's doing it. He is doing his week over again, but they're doing
I
different
got you.
things each week. And then the movie would be them like realizing that that's fucking up the space-time continuum, and they would have to like fix it, and then they would have to like actually like go through the week, and then the end of the movie would be them actually like getting reprimanded by their mom and
I got you.
taking the blunt of the action of their consequences,
I got you. Yeah.
like the consequence of their actions. So they would
The
just like
only
take.
like two genres that I have like any sort of passion like that for is like sci-fi and like high fantasy. So I fuck with the idea a lot because that's very like it's very like cartoonish in like a very odd parents way, and then you also have some like sci-fi inspiration there. I like
Oh
it a
yeah,
lot,
yeah.
honestly.
So
It's very cool.
I like that because it's like I've always written shows that way. That's how, I don't know why my brain's always been like I'll write a show, or like my friend will write a show and they'll be like, "Oh, how do you like it?" My first question for some reason is always, "How do you make a second season?"
Yeah.
Like, because it's like, yeah, it's cool if you want to do one season and that makes sense and that's fine, but it's like if it's a show that you're passionate about, you're gonna want to go another season. Like,
Yeah.
you don't want it to come up to the end of that season where you're wrapping up all these conclusions and you're like, well, I want to go another season.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's also a fine point to some things. Some things do need to end. It's always hard to figure out whenever that is, but
Yeah, but that's why we kind of left the way that we could do that open ended. So it was
yeah.
like maybe after one season, that's that's it, or maybe 2 seasons and then the movie. Like the movie was always kind of like the end point.
Yeah, it's also completely different whenever your whole idea is like, oh, do you want to do it again? And you just go like through a different storyline, even though it's kind of the same like time period, which I think is a
Yeah,
super cool idea. So
yeah, yeah. I've recently been really into writing horror films. I've written a
yeah,
couple of them. I'm not good at it.
really,
Uh,
what are like the hardships that you find different from horror or like with horror from your other things that
well,
you've written?
because I normally write comedy.
Okay,
I write comedy a lot, so it's kind of the same beats, like hitting the same beats, but it's like sitting there and being like, "Oh, this needs to be not clichéable." Like that's always been my biggest thing, is trying to make it not cliched. Like, The Week was one of my first shows I ever like fully sat down and wrote, and I feel like
Hmm.
that's not really cliched.
Yeah, I don't
Like,
I don't think I think you can even if you make something cliche, you can make it a good sort of cliche because there's certain things
um,
that are cliche, but you still enjoy yourself while
no,
watching
yeah,
it. I mean,
yeah, but it's like when I was sitting down and writing like a horror film or a horror something, like it was like I was sitting there and I'm like, this is just another horror film. Like,
ah.
it's not like me sitting being like, oh, this is gonna be a good horror film. I'm like, it's just another horror film. Like,
So I've been writing a D&D setting along with a D&D campaign for a lot of my buddies,
mm-hmm,
and I've been trying to take a certain path for them to like get to this like eldritch horror kind of deal, and it's
mm-hmm.
hard to do horror in general because how do you get people to feel the same way you want them to feel through it?
And
And
yeah,
someone
that
who
is a
doesn't have a
big thing
lot
with
of writing
horror.
experience
Yeah.
is very hard to find those key beats, like you said, those beats that make you go, "Oh fuck, my heart just fell out of my ass."
Yeah, but see, that's the thing is with I think that's why I'm pretty good with writing D&D campaign, is because I was writing D&D campaigns. I think that's why I'm so good at writing.
Sure, yeah, 100%.
And because D&D is so, you don't know what's going to happen. So you have to be
Yeah,
open for anything. And when you're sitting there, you're like, "Oh, yeah, like they might say this." So you have to be like ready for that. And then they say something completely different. And you're like, "All right, well now I have to figure out how I'm going to be on my feet to do that." And like
yeah,
with writing a show or a movie, it's similar. It's like you yeah, you have more of an idea of what somebody's going to say, but it's like, how are they going to convey that to be correct? Like, you might have an actor be like, "Oh, well, I think the character might do this," and then you have to be like, "Oh yeah, they probably would do that. That makes a lot more sense than what I wrote."
yeah.
Because
That's a
sometimes,
good sign of a good director, though. I mean, at least you admit that, like, hey, my character has been engrossed in this or my actor has been engrossed in this character
well,
for a
that's what I'm
while
saying,
now,
is that
so their
sometimes,
input's valuable.
yes, well, because sometimes they'll get into a character more than I will, because I'm not
Yeah,
playing that character, so they'll get into the headspace of that character, and they're like they'll read a line that I have written and they'll be like, "Well, it doesn't seem like that's what I would say, or that my character would say in this moment. Like, it feels kind of like forced. That's what I'm saying. Like,
disingenuine. Yeah,
yeah, like it seems like more like I would be kind of more timid to say this, or like it feels like, because like I've definitely written things where people are like, "Oh, that just doesn't seem like the character," because I've rewritten stories for friends, and I've gone over scripts for friends that were writing either short stories or video game scripts and stuff, and I'm like, "Oh, that sounds cool," but like from what I saw from the rest of the character, it doesn't seem like that's what they would say. And
yeah,
it's always nice to like kind of have somebody else read your script, because it gives you an outside perspective of what maybe they could see as the character would say.
yeah, yeah. I think that with me having very limited writing experience and everything, my biggest thing is I have been scared for people to enjoy the writing as much as I have enjoyed writing it. And it's because I have all these thoughts in my head, and it's like if they don't execute on those thoughts, it's like, well, maybe that was a dumb thing to write. And it's like, no, sometimes you just gotta fucking full send it,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
it's kind of
And
hard to do.
it's especially hard with D&D, because D&D is so like open-ended, because it's like
Yeah,
you write this story and then like you get into play and you're like, "All right, I got all these cool beats for you guys tonight." And then they
yeah.
say something that completely derails everything that
And
you
you're like,
had
all
written
right, we're
down.
fighting a fucking snowman now that you guys
And you're
built because of
like,
fuck me, I
yeah, so
guess.
it's like yeah, it's so hard to, so I would always try to come in with as little as possible when I was writing D&D campaigns.
Yeah,
At first I was writing out full storylines, and I wouldn't use half of it.
yeah, 100%.
And so I started writing like bits of storylines. Like, I'd write this and I'm like, "Oh, that could be a cool side story." And I write this and I'd be like, "Oh, that could be a cool side story." And then I'd be like, "Okay, this is main story, but when they get to it, they get to it." And I would just be like, there's beats on the path that I need them to get to, but I'm not going to be like, "Oh, you went down this path." And then they'd be like, "Okay, well, can I go left?" And I'm like, "No."
Yeah,
Like, my whole thing about D&D was yes and. I always tried to
absolutely.
yes and.
Yeah.
Um,
I
like
think it's important for any I think DMing is a good experience for anyone who wants to tell a good story because you can literally get to a point where you're just absolutely doing something you could have never imagined because
yeah,
your
but
players are
yeah.
doing something that they imagined.
Oh yeah, but that's the thing is but you also have to be when you DM, you have to be open to that kind of stuff though.
Yeah,
I've
100%.
definitely had DMs that were like, "No, it's my story," but it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it is, but it's also like they're also writing that story. The dungeon
Yeah,
master is just there to give the idea of the world. That's my whole thing is that like you as a dungeon master are more giving the world than you are telling the story.
yeah, that's a really good way to put it. I think that it's because I think you've heard the phrase railroading before, where you don't want to
Yeah, yeah,
railroad your
yeah.
players.
Yeah.
And there was a good analogy by I want to say it was like Brandon Lee Mulligan, where he was like, "No, I more so just give them like a mountain for water to run down that they carve their own path." And I
Yeah,
really
yeah. That
like
is a
that
really good
idea.
analogy actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it's like you're sitting there and you're more giving them the building blocks of the world for them to make their story.
yeah, and I don't know. That's a whole different kind of storytelling, and I'm really excited to broach it because the only campaign or the only D&D I've run has been one shots with like a couple of people, the friends
Hmm.
who are like, "Hey, let's go have a couple drinks and get a session going," and I'm like, "Cool,
Yeah.
I'll write it in
Yeah.
5 hours,"
Oh
and
yeah.
then now my friends are like, "Yo, we should get together and make a real campaign. Like, get together on weeks that we can get together
Oh
and
yeah,
just
yeah.
fucking rip a
Doing a
full-blown character."
multi-day campaign is wonderful. I love doing
Yeah.
that stuff. I actually used to have a Dungeons and Dragons podcast called Dickheads and Douchebags.
Oh, fire.
And it was wonderful to do because it's like it's cool to have like where you can be like, "Oh yeah, we're going to leave off here and we'll be back." Like it's not
Yeah.
just like, "All right, cool, that's it." Like
Yeah.
cuz like but like there's times when I've been like just chilling with friends and they're like, "Hey, do you have a Dungeons and Dragons campaign that we could run right now?" I don't because I hadn't been expecting it, but I'll say yes
Yeah.
because
Yeah, it's
my
one of my favorite experiences. I mean, even doing those small sessions, it's like, oh man, it was just a bunch of people just fucking hanging out.
yeah,
Like,
because but it's also like a an exercise for me to be able to come up with a story on the spot.
yeah.
Like sitting there being like, you're going down this path. There's a building on this side and a like a castle on the other. Like, obviously, I'll end up using stuff from my other games, but not everybody who's been in my party right now has we're in those other games.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, I actually kind of started doing this thing where all of my D&D campaigns are in the same world.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
All of the D&D campaigns I write are in the same world, but like thousands of years apart.
Oh yeah.
So like
Yeah.
they'll find like little glimpses of things from other campaigns that like some
Sure.
people have been in and some people haven't. Like some people will know the reference, but like others are like, "Oh, that's funny," and then like they'll be like, "Oh, it was an old ancient traveler," and like
Yeah.
so it's like I had like my brother played a character named He and Chandler, where every time he entered a room, he'd go, "'Tis I, He and Chandler."
Nice.
So I did a joke in one of my actually in one of the podcast episodes where we were sitting there and they fell down a hole in like the main town that I kind of always use, Ox Gulch. And they fell down into this thing and they found on the wall, like etched into the wall, it said, "'Tis I, He and Chandler."
Nice. That's cool. It's
So it's just like,
I always struggle with creating names for places, you know? That is one thing I have fucking really been struggling with whenever I'm writing this campaign setting because it's like I don't want to force myself to write a bunch of shit and then not really like fully flesh it out with the players. I want them to kind of be a part
um,
of that. But the names are so
oh yeah,
goddamn hard.
I have 100% used name generators online. Never
Okay,
feel
yeah.
afraid to use them. They're
Yeah.
so helpful. But what I've learned is that if you just take two words and throw them together, a lot of the
Sometimes it
times
just
it'll sound
works.
like it. A lot of the times they'll sound like a town.
All right. Yeah.
I had what was the weird? Was I had a weird one? It was like uh Gumelch was
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
city I had at one point, and yeah, so it's like just weird words always work. Like you can make up words, which is cool.
Yeah.
So it's like Derivaden was a city at one point
That's
too.
pretty good. That's
And
pretty
like
good.
I was writing one where I was in U.S. history or world history while I was
Mm,
writing it, and I ended up naming a pub the Yuan Dynasty
nice.
because
Yeah.
that's what we were learning about. So I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah. I I do love. I used to be a big history buff, and I do love whenever like I write something and I'm just like, ah, fuck, this has happened in real life.
Yeah, yeah. There's it's my biggest problem is rewriting old stories
Oh, yeah. I'm sure as
or
like a common writer, that's a
n-
pretty genuine issue.
not even just rewriting old stories, but writing the continuation of old stories.
Ah, yeah.
That's a big thing for me because like I'll write this cool storyline and it ends up not being used. And I'm like, okay, but then like I'll write it and then I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, this is just that storyline again because I'm trying to use it because I liked it. But I'm like, I can't just keep using this until they do it because then it wouldn't be genuine.
I understand that. I think there's a place to reuse some of your assets. I think that if you write a good storyline that you really want to feel explored, you don't have to shoehorn it, obviously. I'm not saying that. But I do think that if it's something that you really are loving, you can always change it to fit whatever setting they're in.
Yeah, it's
So,
definitely like it's just like one of those things where I'm like it could go like 2 or 3 sessions where I'm like trying to push this thing and it's not happening and I'm like maybe
sometimes
it's
you just
just
gotta let it
not.
go.
Yeah, it's like it's not supposed to happen.
Yeah, if you
If
love
it's
it,
not,
bring it behind the
yeah.
shed and shoot it in the fucking head.
And it's like but it's just like it's like sitting there and I'm like okay, but it's like it's you have to be that person to be like okay,
Yeah.
it's not happening. Which
Yeah.
sucks when you're like sitting there with your party members later and you're like, "Oh yeah, I had this cool storyline that I kind of had to just give up because I tried like 3 or 4 sessions to get you guys to do it and you just
Yeah.
weren't doing it." And they were like, "Oh, that would have been so cool. You should have kept pushing it." And I'm like,
Which like every player's different and every table's different, so it's like if you guys don't want to go down that road, then yeah, I'll just fucking leave it alone for now, and maybe another session will have it. So
but yeah, that's the thing is that like and being able to just discern which players you have, like if they like more
yeah,
adventure or if they like battles, like you
yeah,
always have to have a nice balance of both. I've had parties that were people who hate doing the battles because of all of
mm,
it was like obviously that's what Dungeons and Dragons is. Sometimes you need to do a battle,
hmm,
but sometimes I would make it different. Like sometimes a battle wouldn't even be like rolling initiative. Like a battle would just be like whatever tip everybody's just taking turns whenever and like they're like oh, I want to do this. And I'm like, technically that's
yeah.
not an action roll, but I don't really give a shit. Sure,
I
cool.
don't care. Yeah,
Like, yeah,
because sometimes it's you're playing a game. You want to have fun. Like at the end of the day, whatever my players want to do, I'm gonna try and figure out a way to make them have as much fun as possible. Because that's what's gonna keep you guys like enjoying the game, enjoying coming to their sessions. It's like that's what you really need to focus on
yeah,
is
yeah,
having a good time.
yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, that was actually a very big thing of like coming back to sessions is that I had a group of friends that I was because I've never actually played. I've always been DM, so I
Mhm.
didn't really understand that at first, and I was learning
Mm,
from the seat of my pants. I'd never been a dungeon master. I've never been in a game. I was learning for the first time, and they came back once or twice because they were like, "Oh, he's learning, whatever." They were all some of them were also learning the game themselves, so it was like we're all kind of learning. But like, I was super like no, like they were like, "Oh, I want to take a boat here," and I'm like, "No, there's thick fog that you can't go through,"
yeah.
and it's like
Yeah.
sometimes yes, you do have to do that,
Yeah.
and it's
Sometimes you
like
do. 100%. Sometimes you
um
are just God.
and
Like you gotta stop.
there's definitely been times when I'm like they'll be like, "Oh, well, I want to or take a boat to the next continent." I'm like,
Yeah.
"No."
Yeah.
Or like I
Yeah.
won't even just be like no, like I'll make it like something ridiculous. So if they really wanted to do it, I guess they could. But they'd be like I want to take a boat to the next continent. And I'm like, "Okay, that'll be like 3 million gold." And they're like, "Ah,
Yeah.
all
I
right."
mean, you also got to think like from a perspective is you're not a player whenever you're in this world. You're a person, so your
Yeah.
actions are gonna have consequences. So
Oh
whatever
yeah,
storyline
yeah,
you're on
yeah.
now, if you don't finish, something bad could happen with the
Yeah.
BBEG. Like,
Yeah. But that like that's the big thing though is like I've 100% had, and it goes the other way too. As a player, you have to be understanding,
Hmm.
because like I've definitely had players that have completely ruined a D&D campaign for me.
Yeah, and see at that point, I mean, those players don't deserve to be your table.
Because
They just
it's
need to find a
like
different table.
I've been sitting there at the table, like everything's going fine and stuff like that, and then like we get to a place where they're like, oh, this isn't as cool as where we just were, but it's like kind of like a low point because like
Yeah.
it's like exposition. Like you're learning where these girls came from. Like there's two people who look identical but don't know each other.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
you're learning
like I
this
said,
stuff
there's a table for everyone, and sometimes it's just not your table.
and but like they got super kind of like aggressive to the point where like I got like they got like bored to where they were like, oh well, I
Uh,
want to do this, and like but it was like something that like didn't make any sense to what's going on.
yeah.
And I like it got to the point where I was so upset because it was a one shot, so I really didn't care. And I was sitting in my room. It was like their first time playing Dungeons and Dragons, stuff like that. And then our other friends joined, and they were fucking around and messing it up and stuff like that. To the point where I was so tired already because I'd barely slept the night before,
Uh,
and I got so irritated that I went. The big bad guy exploded and died, and then I walked out of the room.
yeah, I mean, at a certain point, at a certain point, it's just not your fault anymore. And at a certain point, go fuck themselves.
I was
It's
like,
your
the bad
game.
guy
So.
died, exploded, and the two girls disappeared. All right, I'm going to bed, and then I walked away.
I'm gonna go smoke this J and put my head on my pillow.
And I didn't return. Like I was so done.
Yeah.
They were all at my house, and I didn't come back out. I was done.
Everyone go home or don't. I don't give a fuck anymore.
I was so done. I just went to bed.
Yeah.
I woke up the next day, and I was like, I'm sorry that I yelled, but I was so upset.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good thing to say you're sorry, but also sometimes you fucking mean it, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um. Ooh, okay, so I guess while we're kind of like getting into that topic, I just wanted to say thank you so much for Dubby for sponsoring this podcast. If you are interested in any energy supplements for shaker cups, stickers, t-shirts, hats of W Energy, there's wonderful gamer supplements at w.gg and use code Kevin Creates at checkout for 10% off your entire
Hell
order.
yeah.
I really enjoy their dragon fruit lemonade or dragon something.
That shit sounds gas.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's probably one of my favorites. They came out with a blue raspberry one. It's called Big Energy Tears. It's pretty good too. Um,
Big energy tears.
yeah, so they have a whole thing where they're like going against big energy,
Oh, okay.
and so like that's their whole thing. So they have camo stickers and camo shakers and stuff like that because it's like their war against big energy.
Nice, yeah.
Um, and so they made Big Energy Tears, which is
Yeah,
raspberry or
so
blue
when's the
raspberry.
big energy nuke coming? When are they gonna have the
Big
different
Energy
fucking...
Nuke. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I'm trying to get my own flavor, so we have to get my code used.
Word, I got you. Okay.
I want my own.
Understandable.
I want my own flavor, or at least a shaker
What's your
cup.
dream flavor?
I don't know, probably some like cherry limeade.
Okay.
I
That's a good choice.
Okay, I need a black cherry limeade because Brisk did uh um like a limited edition one for the Venom Let There Be Carnage movie.
Oh yeah.
Or no, it was originally out for Venom, but they brought it back for Let There Be Carnage, and it was black cherry limeade. Oh my god, it was the best Brisk flavor ever, and it doesn't exist anymore.
Damn. Okay.
And I
Yeah,
want
I
it.
never tried
I
it.
want
I'd be
it so
interested.
bad. It's so good. But I think that's what I would want for my flavor. Is but I don't know what I would call it.
Yeah, that's fair. I
Um
think like whenever I think of other people that have flavors, it's always funny because there's like very serious ones. I think a guy that I watch a lot from or watched a lot. I don't. He's a part of Phase. I don't know if you ever watched Phase Jev, but he's very
nope.
much just like the most normal guy you've ever met.
Yeah.
And he really likes Swedish Fish, and Swedish Fish was his flavor. But then you also have people
Mm.
like Schlatt who make fucking cum flavored energy drinks.
Oh yeah. Well, Schlatt like owns that company, so he can do whatever
Yeah,
the fuck
he's
he
just a
wants.
fucking dick.
So, um, but yeah, W Energy is actually really good. It doesn't give you that jitter like other stuff does.
Well,
Because
my
it
heart's
contains
fucked anyways. So
like coffee extract. It's fruit extract called the coffee fruit extract instead of
okay,
like added caffeines.
I'd slurp that shit up. I'm a big caffeine guy, so
But yeah, so it's actually pretty good. They also do have caffeine free ones if you just are there for the flavors.
there you go.
But it's got some good vitamins in it. It's pretty good.
Well, you heard him. Go
Uh,
get you some.
this one, the one that I have in my hand right now, is actually super rare because they don't sell it anymore because I don't think it was very good. I don't like it.
Oh,
I actually don't like it. Um,
this is the inside scoop.
but so I actually there's like half of this left still. It's passion joy tea. It was crisp passion fruit iced tea. Um,
I would
but
drink it.
I didn't like it very much.
Okay,
But it doesn't exist anymore. They don't sell it. So I
got
think
you.
I can talk about it.
Yeah, there's a swing and miss sometimes. It happens.
But yeah, they've got a fruit punch one and stuff like that too. They have a
Okay.
guava one that I'm interested in trying.
Have you ever had just like guava?
I've never had a guava, no.
I feel like I don't think I have either. I don't know what
Have you ever had
guava
star
is.
fruit?
Yes, I have.
I feel like star fruit just tastes like water.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of fruit that tastes like that, but you know,
Star fruit. I like dragon fruit. Dragon fruit's pretty good.
what's your opinion on watermelon? Since we're
I
talking
like
about it.
watermelon.
Oh, I don't know what it is. I hate watermelon. It's the most boring fruit.
You know what's funny about watermelon? Is that on percentage, there's only like 50% water in watermelon. A
So we
potato
got 50% melon.
A potato has more percentage of water. A potato is 95% water.
Yeah, I 100% believe that because whenever you cook with potatoes, they don't do anything until you dry them out.
But yeah, no, so yeah, a potato is 95% water, which means to ratio, a potato has more water in it than a watermelon.
That's funny.
If you had
What if
a
there's a fucking potato famine? You're drinking just water and carb.
if you had a watermelon the size of a potato, there'd be more water in the potato.
Mm, well, it's a good survival tip. There you go.
Yeah.
Whenever
Um
you're farming potatoes in the nuclear wasteland that this world will be.
oh yeah. Soon.
We're all ready for it. It's okay. It'll
I
happen.
think we're coming up to an apocalypse. One, two. I don't think the human race has very much longer. Maybe 500 years.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. I mean, wouldn't that shit be crazy? I'll be long gone,
I
so I
mean,
don't
yeah, I'll
really
be
care.
dead, so I don't care.
Yeah, fuck them. They can all die.
Yeah.
At that point,
Scientists estimate that the human race is gonna go extinct in the next 500 years.
I'd believe it. Yeah,
If
100%.
they actually said that if global warming doesn't take us out, that the human race will take out their own kind.
Yeah, we're the apex predators. Nothing can fucking get us except for ourselves.
I thought it was funny how little people cared when the government admitted to having aliens.
Yeah, I
They
think
were like,
that
the aliens are real, and everybody was like, I.
that shit's got to be a psyop. I don't believe it.
No, see, that's the thing is that everybody was like, if aliens is a big thing. If
Yeah,
they're dropping aliens, what the fuck are they hiding?
yeah, yeah. There's got to be something else where it's like,
It's
okay,
like they're
what is
dropping
what is what
aliens.
is less than aliens, or like what is greater than aliens that we have to drop aliens to cover it up?
Yeah, they're dropping aliens.
Yeah, that's fucking risky business right there.
I think Sleepy Joe's an AI.
That's why that's why he walks like he's a robot.
Yeah,
Sleepy Joe. I told him it wouldn't work.
it wouldn't
I
work.
told him it wouldn't work.
Um, I think it'd be funny to have Trump at the presidential debates, but he's not allowed to run for president. He's just there.
I think we should have Trump on air at all times for that reason, just 'cause he
I
can
think
talk.
Trump. I think Trump should be like the final boss if you're gonna become president. Like if you can debate against Trump, you can become president.
Someone who's just gonna call you a fat idiot for 45 minutes you have to debate against.
See, I think that's why Biden wasn't affected by it, because he didn't understand what Trump was saying. He didn't understand what he was saying.
Yeah, whenever you're so good at just like not comprehending what's going on, you might as well just fucking be the president.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Half of America doesn't know what's going on anyway.
Nah, we're all fucked. Might as well just embrace
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah, yeah. So, would you rather fight four giant chickens, four zombie-sized chickens, or 500 chicken-sized zombies?
I've always loved these questions. I feel like one more time, read the options one more time.
Okay. Would you rather fight four zombie-sized chickens, so let's say like 6 foot tall,
Okay, yeah.
or 500 zombie-sized chickens? Or no, 500 chicken-sized
Chicken-sized
zombies.
Zombies, yeah, okay. I'm trying to. I've never, and I feel like I need to clarify this. I have never killed a chicken, but I feel like it'd be pretty easy. I feel like I'm breaking that motherfucker's neck in
I guess.
negative time.
Okay, well, a new question is, what kind of zombies?
Yeah, like the Walking Dead walkers, or are we talking like, what's it called? Something Z.
Uh, let's go like Call of Duty zombies.
Okay, okay. Like a high round, like running at you full sprint.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Like we're at like round 20.
Okay, yeah. Honestly, that thought terrifies me of four giant. Yeah, no, that's fucked up. But also, it's only four.
It is only four. But you have
Do
to
I
think
have
about
any
it.
weapons? Like, if it's
Okay,
just my
hold on.
fist?
Think about this though. That chicken is big enough to probably put your head in its mouth.
Yeah, and see if it's clucking me, if I'm getting clucked and sucked,
Clucked and sucked.
if I'm getting clucked and sucked, am I turning into a a zombie sized chicken?
Well, no, I don't think they're zombies. They're just chickens that are huge.
Okay, then if I get bit by one of the chicken sized zombies, am I a zombie?
Uh, let's say you can get bitten 200 times
Yeah, I'm fighting the fucking
before
four
you become a
dudes then,
zombie.
because I'm definitely getting bit. There's just no
Well,
option.
that's only like a fit, or like 1/2.5
Yeah, it's somewhere around
of
there.
it. Yeah, it's like
Yeah, I don't. I'm
yeah,
just not risking becoming undead. If I'm being honest, that
it's
is
2/5.
one
That's
of
the
my
word I was looking for.
greatest. Oh yeah, that is my greatest fear. Is like a zombie apocalypse is actually possible.
Really?
Yes, dude, I am fucking
What do you
terrified
think
of
would be the
getting.
worst zombies to go against? Probably the ones from Last of Us.
Yeah, the clickers are pretty fucked up,
Yeah.
especially because it's like a fungus and shit, so it just spreads on its own. Like no one can control it.
Nope.
That would
That
be
scene
fucked.
in the show when that scientist stuck her hand down that lady's mouth, I swore something was gonna happen.
Dude,
Freaked me
that
the
is
fuck out.
that I mean that show honestly was way better than I thought it was gonna be,
I haven't
and I
finished
was
it.
really excited. Oh, you
I've
haven't?
I've watched like the first 4 episodes. I mean, I know how it
Okay.
ends because I watched
Yeah, you
I've
played the
played the
games.
game. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, I
Yeah, I
liked
watched it
it.
with my girlfriend, and I had already played both the games whenever it came out,
Yeah, a
and she
lot of
was just
people
like, "I'm
had.
so excited," and I was like, "You're gonna hate how this show ends."
Yeah. Um, a lot of people had a problem with the I think it's the fourth episode. It's been out for almost a year now, right? We can talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
The
Spoilers
episode with the
ahead,
gay
but
guy.
yes. Bill, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people have a problem with that because in the
Yeah.
game it's like you figure out that story. It's like they don't have it's not like a big thing in the game. But I'm like, I liked that episode.
I
Episodes that I've watched, every single one of them have made me cry at some point.
Yeah, no, I found the fourth episode to be like the most emotional, especially because Pedro Pascal, his character Joel figured it out, it's like that's
Oh
the first
yeah.
thing that you see actually affect him.
Oh yeah. Like
He's
that
like
episode
fully
was like
diminished.
that whole thing. Like when it first started, I was like, oh, this is gonna be a weird episode. Joel's not here, whatever.
Yeah.
And then it got like I was like, oh, that's kind of sweet and stuff like that. And then it got to like up territory where they were like old, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
what's gonna happen now?
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking both of them taking themselves is
It
pretty
was
wild.
very sweet.
It
That's all I'm
was
gonna
the
say.
the way it
Yeah,
happened,
it's very sweet.
very sweet.
Um, it's very sweet. It's a whole storyline that was very sweet.
Especially like I think that as a TV show that is trying to adapt a game, I think it's good to find a plot point that is like enjoyed by the audience of the game and expand upon it, but not
Yeah.
make something new by itself.
Um, yeah, but I guess a lot of people were upset about it like, because it was the whole episode.
Yeah, fuck them. It was good.
I
It,
loved
it was
it.
good.
It's
Yeah,
probably one of my favorite episodes of the first like half.
yeah.
Like
I
I
mean,
loved that episode. My friend, who's it's strange because I have a lot of homophobic friends, but I'm like kind of gay, so
yeah.
they deal with me. So, but they were like, one of my friends was like, did you like, or how did you feel about that episode? And I was like, oh, did I love that episode? And he was like, of course you'd love that episode. I was like, fuck's that supposed to mean, huh?
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
I was like, it was a good episode. It had good story points. It was like,
Yeah, if the only thing you don't like about it is that they're gay, then hey man, maybe go self-reflect.
cause like, but I mean, like, I understand if you didn't like the story for the story. Like, obviously, if it was a heterosexual couple and you didn't like it, and you still wouldn't like it, then yeah, I can understand. You just didn't like it, and that's fine.
Yeah, especially from if you're a really big fan of the games, there's always going to be some creative liberties taken by the director because it's not the same person who made the games. So,
Yeah, 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 and that's how we get a lot of those video game adaptation stuff. And I feel like recently we've been getting a lot of good or better. I wouldn't say good,
yeah,
but
let's
better.
let's let's exclude The Witcher.
I
'Cause that
didn't
shit
watch it.
fucking sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I don't know, we're beating around the bush with Five Nights at Freddy's, but
Oh my God, I actually forgot they made a movie. I
have you
saw it
seen
too.
it?
Yeah, I saw it.
I watched it. I've seen it. I've watched it twice.
What'd you think?
I liked it.
I was about to say, I think it's a fine movie. I don't think it's gonna like win any awards, but if you like Five Nights at Freddy's,
So
it's a fine movie.
I guess everybody, because I feel like it was overhyped. I feel like everybody was like, "Oh, it's gonna be this and it's gonna be this," and it's like, bro, it's a fucking kids game. Like, yeah, it seems like it's a kid, and like it was made for kids.
Yeah.
One,
Oh,
two,
100%.
no, but like the game was mostly played by like 10-year-olds, and two, those games came out when we were 10. The first one came
Yeah.
out when we were like 10. Of course, we were gonna think it's a lot scarier than it is now.
Also,
But
most of the people
two,
who are like super into the Five Nights at Freddy's lore probably wear cat ears to school.
I
So,
fucking love the Five Nights at Freddy's lore, and I loved that movie because it was made for the fans. There's a lot of
yeah,
references and
it
stuff like
was.
that, but I do understand where you can come from and say that the movie wasn't a very good movie.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Apparently, there's on the DVD, which I will buy because you can't watch this version on Peacock because it's a PG-13 rating. There is an R cut of the film that you
I bet
can
that's
watch on the
fire.
DVD.
I bet that's sick.
So I'm gonna buy the DVD. It comes out December 7th or something.
Honestly, I would buy it just for that because
So I'm
I
gonna buy
there's a lot
that.
of a lot of the times where I was like, man, that'd be a really cool scene if
Where
I just got to see them get
spoilers for
chopped
the
in
Five Nights
half.
spoilers for the Five Nights at Freddy's movie if nobody's seen it.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody who wants to see it has seen it.
Yeah, I would
Um,
imagine so.
but especially because it's at home.
Yeah, what's
Uh,
it on already then?
it came out the day it was released. It came out on Peacock as well.
Oh, shit, I didn't know
Yeah,
that. Okay.
yeah. So, but the DVD apparently one of the big scenes that everybody like that was removed to keep the PG-13 rating was the scene where the burglars break in,
Mm.
and apparently there's a scene where Bonnie's guitar gets stabbed through that guy's face, like up through his jaw.
Oh my
There's a
God.
scene where Foxy slices somebody's face with his hook, and you can
Oh
see his
yeah.
brains.
Oh yeah.
Um, and the girl, when she gets bitten in half by Freddy, apparently they actually show it
Nice.
instead
That's
of it just
lit.
being the shadow.
I love
So,
that.
um, and apparently you'll be able to watch the R-rated cut on the thing. It's not just deleted scenes. Like you'll be able to watch
Yeah.
the R-rated cut. That's all speculation though. I'm not 100% sure. But apparently there's
Yeah.
13 deleted scenes.
Damn. All right.
So,
I love a good director's cut. I'm a sucker
and I
for
was
that,
like I was
honestly.
like I already enjoyed the movie. A lot of people were like that's not the game, but it is. So everybody's like, well, this isn't the universe that we know, and it's like, of course it's not. Like you are probably mostly talking about the video games, which has its own universe separate from the books, separate from like the other stuff, and the movie is like a blend of all of those put into a
Yeah.
smoothie. Like it's like taking the best points from each thing and putting it into this long thing. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's changing its own stuff as well too.
I haven't been a part of like the lore for a while now, and I went with someone who still really likes it. So I was getting educated kind of like through the
Oh
movie
yeah,
because there
yeah,
was a lot of
yeah.
points where I was like, wait, I don't remember this. And they were
Did
like,
you at
wait,
least
no.
get excited for the Matt Pat cameo?
Yeah, that shit was kind of lit.
A lot of people were upset that they made him say it's just a theory.
I think it's fine. I think
Whatever.
it's
I
okay to be
think
corny.
some people said it felt forced.
Yeah, I mean maybe, but
Whatever. I liked it. I thought it was cool. I did you see? I don't know if you saw Matt Pat's video on it where they figured out what Markiplier's role was supposed to be.
oh, no, I did
So
not.
Markiplier was supposed to be in the film,
Oh,
but there was some complications with him shooting his own horror film, Iron Lung,
oh
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
when they were filming that, so he said that he wasn't going to be able to make it. They ended up recasting his character. He was supposed to be the guard that dies at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, okay.
So honestly, Markiplier was supposed to have the first shot of that movie.
That would have been fire.
So
Is that the bite of '87?
I mean, it was super sweet how after Mark came out and said that he wanted to be in the movie and whatever, and
Yeah.
they just thought, oh, maybe Scott just didn't say anything and Mark was trying to be nice or whatever. Scott ended up tweeting saying that he was like, hey, sorry that we couldn't get him in this one. Hopefully we can get him into a sequel or something like that. I'm super excited for Iron Lung to come out, and I hope to see your directing debut be as great as we're all hoping it to be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
So at least they were nice about it, and nobody had any hard feelings.
Yeah, that's always cool to see. Especially in like such a small, like tight knit community almost. It's like you don't really want to see anyone fucking
No,
get screwed
you
over.
ready to about to get some blast of time?
Yeah, I'm here for it.
Fucking, we've seen the rise of Five Nights at Freddy's, six
Yeah.
games, and a movie, right? All in between GTA 5 and 6.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Oh my God. That's wild. Shouts out to GTA 5 for being a forever
GTA
game.
6's trailer comes out next month.
Yeah, I heard that. I
Announcement
don't.
trailer.
Yeah, it'll just be like the title.
Well, see, that's the thing though, is that like when GTA 6 finally does get released, it's probably going to be one of the biggest pre-orders ever.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
Because not only is it almost 12, almost 15, I think, years in the making.
Yeah.
By the time it comes out, it's not going to, I don't think it's going to be slated for next year. 2025, 2026. I think late 2025 at the earliest.
Yeah, I imagine you're right. It's kind of like a I almost hope it's gonna be like the next Fortnite where it like unites people in gaming.
But it's like, apparently it's coming out on console first.
Oh, okay.
It's coming out on Xbox and PlayStation first.
Yeah, that's the same thing that GTA 5 did. It didn't come out on PC for like 2 years after, I think.
But so that's gonna happen, and so, but it's not gonna be on old consoles. It's only on 5 and
Mm.
the Series X.
Yeah, I'm a PC only guy. I used to have consoles and finally
I got
sold them
all of
already.
it because
So
I like to play games.
yeah, I've really wanted to
um,
play a lot of the PlayStation exclusives and haven't gotten the chance
that's why I
to.
got a
So
PS5. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, I'm
yeah,
jealous for that. I mean, whenever Ghost
yeah.
of Tsushima came out, I really wanted to play that, but
See, I got a PlayStation 5 for Christmas, and I've barely played any of it.
yeah, it's classic.
I think it's because I spoiled myself because I was like, oh, I'm never gonna get a PlayStation, so I just watched them all. So I'm like, I
Yeah,
already know how they end. Like,
yeah.
I
It's always
did
hard to do
play
that.
the only game I've ever completed and fully beat on stream or like that was fully recorded and on stream was a PlayStation game, and it was Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh yeah, Shadow Colossus is fire.
Love that game. I want to play The Last Guardian. That
Yeah.
game made me cry when I watched somebody play it. I watched Jacksepticeye play it.
Mm.
Oh my god, I love that game. Trico looks so cool. I wish I could have an actual Trico.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh my god. But
I I think whenever I think of like the games I played as a little kid, I think
mhm.
the only one that I want to see get a remaster like Shadow of the Colossus is probably, oh, this is gonna sound really fucking dumb, but there was this SpongeBob game, right? And it was on one of the like single joystick games where there was only like two buttons, a joystick, and it was
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
fucking fire, dude. And I wish that I could remember the name of it, but I
You know
can't,
what
and I
SpongeBob
wish it
game
had
I
a
want
remaster.
remastered?
What's that?
Mine was on the Wii. It was on the Wii and the DS. It was called. It actually has two different names depending on where you got it. So if
Yeah.
you got it in the US, it was called, or no, if you got it in the UK, it was called SpongeBob and Friends, and then the title. And in US, it was called Nicktoons
Mm.
SpongeBob Globs of Doom.
Whoa.
Globs of Doom was the one of the best fucking Wii games because it had such a crossover. It had SpongeBob, Jimmy Neutron, that fucking Tucka Tucka kid. I don't remember what the fuck the show was called.
Oh yeah.
It had Invader Zim. I think that was it. I think it was those five. Oh, and Danny
That's a
Phantom.
wild crossover. Yeah, Danny Phantom's a
Oh
must.
my god, it was so fire. I was like, bro, they need to remake that game,
Yeah. Dude, I
or at
think
least do like an HD.
Nickelodeon. Yeah, nah, I agree. There's a lot of games I think like that. I think
Nickel.
Nickelodeon is the reason I have the taste in women I have, though.
Oh, definitely, most
Yeah,
definitely.
it's kind of
Sam
fucked up what
from
they did to
Danny
this
Phantom.
generation. Yeah. They screwed us.
Sam from Danny Phantom. Uh, yeah,
We all
was
just want to be
hot.
stepped on.
An entire generation of kids that want to be stepped on. Uh, all right. Well, I think we're going to end this little podcast off
Yeah, how long we
here.
been going now?
About an hour 18.
Ah, shit,
Yeah.
man. Time flies.
So, Ian, is there anything that you would like to promote or shout out while I have you here?
Um, I mean, yeah.
Any social medias or anything?
If you guys want to follow me over on my Twitch, it's just my name, Ian Ditch. I stream somewhat regularly, streaming more now because I'm not fucking in a prison cell known as college. And I have a
You might
YouTube by the
catch me
same
over
name.
there.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's really about
Do you
it.
want to spell
I'm not
that
really
out
doing
for
anything
them
special.
if they're
Um,
listening?
yeah, first name Ian, Ian, last name Ditch, Ditsch. Just my name, full government, because I'm a fucking
Full
psychopath.
government. So that was on Twitch and YouTube there.
Yeah, that's
If
about
you're
it.
if you're interested. Yeah, if you are listening to this on Spotify or Apple or whatever you're listening to this on, there is a video version of this podcast on YouTube at Kevin Creates if you are interested. Um, do you have any big things coming up for the holidays or anything?
Not precisely. I'm definitely gonna start. I think I'm gonna try and stream this campaign that I've been working on, that D&D campaign. So if you guys are interested in
Oh,
seeing the
that'd be
start of
cool.
that,
That'd be cool. Yeah, I'd be.
then that might
I'll
be something
probably
to
I'll
start up.
probably come in.
Yeah, word. I love that,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, I would. Yeah, I want to be a player so bad. I want somebody
See,
else to DM me.
yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking is I haven't played in a little while, but I would be more than happy to see if something would work out. I've got a lot of players right now.
Oh, I don't. I'm not like saying, oh, get and join your game. You seem like
Sure, sure, sure.
you seem like you have a table, and you guys have all been working together to get this together. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
intrude there.
Yeah, I can definitely figure something out though, because I've been wanting to do more of them. So,
But yeah, I definitely want to do that. But I'm so glad to have you as my first guest. I feel like this
thank
went
you very much.
very swimmingly. I'm glad you were my first guest because we both know how to just talk out of our asses, and I didn't have
Yeah.
somebody as my first guest where I'm sitting there like trying to come up with conversation points like
Yeah.
like we I feel like that's the thing about this podcast specifically is that I don't want to like cut out anything because I want it to feel more
Yeah.
natural, but like the way we talked just now, it kind of felt like a cut podcast already. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
like there was no points where we were just like, so what's your
Yeah.
favorite game?
Yeah, it was an absolute pleasure, man. It was a good
Yeah,
time.
yeah. And again, anytime you wanna come back on, I will gladly have you back.
Absolutely, man.
Um
Sounds good.
so yeah, we're actually recording this kind of early on before it's released, so it's kind of date this episode. But um, yeah, uh, yeah, because I believe this episode's being released on December 2nd.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
Damn. Yeah, we got a little while, but
yeah, so are you
but I'm
gonna
gonna
listen
have
to
to
your
give
own
it.
episode?
I think I am. Yeah. I was about to say that. I think I'm gonna have to give it a listen.
Yeah, I've always been like hesitant to always listen to when I'm on like I've been on like my friends' podcasts that like will like tank and they just disappear and I'm like, where did the
Yeah.
episode go? And they're like, it was up there, but we stopped paying for it, so they took them
Ah,
down. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
damn.
So I'm always hesitant to listen to my own episodes because I'm like, I probably sounded like a fucking dumbass.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm one of the few people I think in this entire world that actually doesn't mind the sound of my voice.
Well, I hope I was a good host for my first episode of the Kevin
Yeah,
Cast.
I think you did great, man.
Wonderful. I don't know if I'm gonna call it the Kev Cast or the Kevin Cast yet, so
Yeah,
it's still a working title.
I get that. I like both. I don't know what to tell you if I'm being honest.
Well, I was trying to keep the KK initials,
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. I got you.
so it was like, so I'm spelling cast for the K.
Yeah, I got you. That makes sense.
Um, but yeah, so it's the Kevin Cast or Kev Cast. I don't know. I don't know which one sounds better, but yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I think with branding and maybe it might just be good enough to go with your whole name.
yeah. Who knows? Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening or watching. If you guys are on YouTube, um, I'm waving at you if you're on YouTube.
I'm
Ian
giving you a
wave.
heart.
Oh, hearts. Um, we actually can't see each other. We didn't set it up
Yeah, I
so that our
know.
cameras were on for each other. We so easily could have because OBS allows you to use it as a webcam. Like we could have just
Yeah,
done our OBS into Discord. So we
yeah.
so could have seen each other and we just didn't set it up.
It's all right. Whatever. I'll see you
Yeah.
in the final cut.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, so I'm excited for this to be released, and I hope everybody enjoyed the first episode.
Yeah, me
Um,
too, man.
more guests to come. All right, well, bye.
Goodbye.